Hello, you beautiful sons of bitches. It's episode 178 of Blasted or Stash It. The first time catch you show, what we do is reread the books that come out on the Comic Book Wednesday the previous week, and we talk about them here, give them a review of Blasters, ones we hate, Stash, or the ones we do like. If you do like what we do here, you want to support us financially, you can go over to Patreon, and you can enter the chance to win books like this here. For $1 a month, you can get one entry into that contest. For that $1, you can say, "Not today, diabetes. I'm not buying a candy bar. I'm submitting to Blasted or Stash It. I want to win one of those books." There's the other Greg Horn. Or you can go to Teespring and check out some of our books there. The Thunderlust shirt, or Choose Wrong About X-Men, Prove Me Wrong. Or you can give us a thumbs up, a like, and a share. That's always appreciated as well. And we'll go ahead and get jumped into the books that are this week. Do you want to start us out, Joe, on something? What do you want to start, a blast or a stash?
Well, let's go ahead and talk about this one and make up our minds right now. I haven't quite made up my mind on it. And you had it up as the thumbnail. So let's go ahead and talk about Question Book 2. You read this.
I did read that, yes. And I have some questions about this.
It's interesting. So are we dealing with time travel, or are we dealing with reincarnation? What are we dealing with? In this issue, we get picked up into the Wild Wild West, and he's a lone cowboy / blacksmith who has a good heart but has done bad things, your typical cowboy story. And he does a good thing in this one and pays the ultimate price by being killed at the end. And then we get jumped into 1941, where he's in the slums of New York, and apparently he drinks a lot because there's bottles of gin everywhere. Why gin? I don't know. I liked the story. I thought the story was good, but together with the first book, I don't see the point of it. I guess they're trying to show us this man with 1,000 faces, this shapeshifter, and then the man with no face, and what does that look like in different time frames? We seem to be doing a lot of that in comic books lately. We did it with Moon Knight. We've touched on it in various Avengers storylines. We're kind of playing with this, and I guess it's a popular thing to do right now to kind of retcon characters or something. I don't know. But I did like this as a standalone, but if I had to look at it as an entire arch, I would probably have to blast it. And also, I'm not a big fan of this particular type of art. I've said this before. I don't want to beat a dead drum over it. It just seems very scratchy and amateurish to me. So all in all, I loved the story. I loved the dialogue in it. I thought the dialogue was good. It was a good story. Guy saved somebody for the right reasons. Racism, that's a bad thing. I'm down with fighting that. But all in all, I don't know. I'm still on the fence. The art just throws me off. And then I keep thinking about the first book and why are we connecting it throughout time? Once again, another story where we got to span through some long spans of time. I don't know. But for right now, it's still on the fence for me as a 50-50.
Yeah. As you talk about the art, it has like the cross hatching essentially for like the beard or the shadows and that kind of stuff. It makes it look very, very scratchy. Is it a take on religion too? Because we find out that preacher is the bad guy, at the end of the book.
Yeah, and then you get the savage noble that has a religion that looks crazy to us, but come to find out it's a real thing. Yeah, there's a take on religion with it too, but I don't think it's like the emphasis. I think it's just a vehicle.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
So did you recognize the guy's name, the main character named Victor? I can never pronounce his name right. Saz or Snaz or
yeah.
Do you know who that character is?
I thought it was the Question, his original character.
Well, that's one of Batman's main villains too. He's the guy that cuts himself all up. Each kill he makes, he cuts his arm or cuts his face or cuts whatever.
Yeah, I did not catch that.
I caught that. I'm like, wait a minute. And I had to actually go back and double check and Google that myself. I was like, yeah, that is. So I'm wondering how that name, is Charles Victor Sands or whatever the hell he pronounced his last name. And I'm like, okay, is this a relative? Is this related somehow? Or is it actually Victor, but now, I mean, Victor's now, of course, at the end of the book. Of course, spoilers. He gets shot in the face. Then he gets shot in the face or shot up from that pit. Yeah,
right in the people.
So we don't know where this is going. Now, usually when I put books in my CLZ app, I put this in there. Usually this shows the next 3 or 4 issues or whatever. Didn't show any of issue 3 at all. And maybe because they have announced the date on release on yet, because these Black Label books are kind of hit or miss on when they come out.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that this isn't just the end right here. Like, oh, wake up 1940s, book ends, da-da-da.
Another thing, too, and it's not really a criticism. I like the prestige format of the hard copy. I love the paperweight in it.
Mm-hmm.
I love how brilliant the color is in it. I just don't like this. I wish this was scaled down to a normal comic book size, but still the same type of stitching and all that too. Because I don't want to have to buy an extra bag and board at the comic book store. I'm not buying a whole box of them, so it's like one at a time. It's one more thing I gotta buy.
My store is usually pretty good. They usually provide a bag and board for them.
Nice.
And I have a whole bunch of it's magazine size Mylar bags. Here I have like another 150 of them. So I just use that. They're slipcover bags, but I end up using that. But yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass that there's a bigger book, and you got to buy a different box and everything for it. Luckily I have a magazine box too, but yeah, that's just that Mylar top loader. But yeah, it's on the fence for me too. I think I'll definitely pick up issue 3, because usually these have been 3-issue runs and be done with after that. There's a whole bunch of mystery behind it too, but I definitely want to pick up issue 3 if there's an issue 3 for sure. I had Detective Comics. We talked about it in the off air. I'm like, oh, cool, Detective Comics. I haven't read one of those in forever, and I read it. Oh shit, they came out last week. So apparently it was the variant cover that I was missing from my store. They gave it to me. I read it, although it's good. It was really good. Okay.
Real quick in the chat, we got Caffeinated Comics. He says, hello, fam. No Drew and his terrible X-Men jock writing tonight.
Wow.
Double S said, what up, Huey and Joey? What's going on, guys? Always good to have you in the room. Please, if you have comments about some of these comic books, let us know if you read any of them, or if you read something this week and you think we might have read it. Throw it in the chat. We'll bring it up and discuss it.
Yep. I'm going to start this off with another kind of convoluted book this week. It went through trillions of years of time. I mean, that's what the book did. So this is Venom, the end. Now, this is from... assuming the beginning of the symbiotes occur to Venom's end. I think you said it in your video you did. We don't need to read anything anymore. We know how everything ends now, right? So there were some cool parts I thought in this book itself. It was a pretty heavy read for a Venom book. That's for sure. I mean, a lot of freaking dialogue in there. A lot of stuff to read. I do like how it ties in with the other like X-Men stuff about the cloning and bringing back, and he talks about using Storm and using multiple man's powers and to create a Venom army and stuff like that. There's some pretty cool stuff in here. I like how he used Quicksilver as that, but he ended up essentially killing the Host a lot quicker because he's moving through time and all that stuff and moving faster, and the Host can't keep up. This panel here cracked me up. This one right here, the yellow one, when it says, in fact, Venom wound up bonding with everybody who has ever lived. And he has this like big grin on his face, like he's screwed every person on the planet or something. That was pretty funny. And the other part I did like about it, it talked about him trying to keep Eddie alive as long as possible, because that's the only person he's really bonded with, like a 5-star bond. That's what they do, a 4-star bond, 3-star bond. They talk about that throughout the book, and how he's replacing Eddie's memories, trying to keep him alive because his brain deteriorating. But Eddie now remembers that Venom has been part of his life essentially the whole thing, or at least venomized people have. Until he cannot control, or Eddie's just so far gone, he can't help, he can't be his host anymore. Some of the stuff was interesting, but you would think too, though, that why does he still look like that, like Venom, if he has no host? Because so I don't understand that part of it. But I don't know if you really need to read this to know everything else going on with Venom. I think this is like a one shot. It's like, hey, let's have some fun with Venom and talk about his history and talk about how the symbiotes have been part of the Marvel history forever. And I think we're kind of learning that already with the Absolute Carnage stuff and Null. So I don't know if we really need this book explaining the whole history of Venom. And for $5, it definitely I wouldn't pick it up, honestly. So it's a blast for me. It's blasphemy. It's a blast for me. It was put in my Venom box, and I'll probably never ever read it again.
Yeah, this is a blast for me too. I can't even. I thought you were a lot nicer about it. You said there was a lot of dialogue. Not to correct you, but there's no dialogue in this thing. It's nothing but narration. Narration.
Well, yeah. What I mean is a lot of stuff to read.
Narration and more narration, because every little detail has to be explained to you in this book because it doesn't make any sense. Like the whole thing. Trillions of years, really trillions and trillions and trillions of years, and being around forever, and everything's connected to Venom, and Venom is everything, but there was only one thing you could ever truly connect with, and that was the one bully from high school. Like, oh my God, it read. And then like when they try to make sense of like, why he bonded with Wolverine, why he bonded with Deadpool, why he bonded with Storm. Well, all right, the reader, right, kind of knows these characters, right? A first-time reader ain't picking this book up. Right? This is somebody who's read and knows a little something about these characters. And then also to keep Eddie alive, he had to kind of mimic what neurons are like in a brain.
Mm-hmm.
So, but by doing that, like all of his memories had something to do with Venom too. Like it was Venom. There was no bad guy in the story. Like you could try saying this AI Tony Stark thing flying around was the bad guy, but no, not really. It's an infectious disease that won't go away. It's like AIDS. It's just it won't go away. But this one will, because this book's getting blasted.
Now, isn't Tony's AI the one doing the narration for this whole book? I find out at the end.
I'm going to assume and say yes, because it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Especially with all the special branding it uses for like the different moments that were all kind of cheesy and just didn't fit the story. Like I'm trying to get like, and not to get like weird, but I'm trying to find a tone in a story, right? What's is it a dark tone? Is it a humorous tone? Is it a action tone, right? And this you get stupid graphics like this that are like, wow, come look at this sale. And then you find out that Eddie's dying on the next page. That's sad, right? So that it's not taking you through an emotional roller coaster. It's just explaining a bunch of emotions to you, and it's boring.
Yeah. Caffeinated Comic Book said, reading a comic book shouldn't be akin to reading a term paper ever.
Right. And that's what this felt like. It was just I don't know. I don't know.
I think this was one of the books that I was getting ready to go to bed. I was like, okay, I'll read a book or two. I opened it up and I said, nope, not reading this tonight. And put it right back because it was so heavy on the dialogue or narration.
See, the one thing that really catches me, and this is where I think the story falls in on itself and where I just found out I was reading a bunch of ridiculousness, right? What is it? Venom bonded with Storm. We'll use Storm, okay? And then it realized all of a sudden that it can draw with whatever powers Storm has, all this trillions of years in the future. All of a sudden, Venom realizes it and starts making babies.
Yeah.
So he's asexual now, which is awkward, but whatever. Okay, there's your thing. And then he realizes because he, at one point or another, did these other things with other superheroes, he can recreate superheroes now. Why did it take trillions of years to figure that out? Like, doesn't make any sense. Sorry.
But at the end of the book, too, didn't it like Venom disappear, but humanity was back?
No, it left it kind of vague there.
Okay.
Yeah, this book kind of reminded me of the Linkin Park song. In the end, it doesn't even matter. This book does not matter.
Yeah.
Somebody asked who's on Venom right now. I believe it's still Cates, but I don't think he wrote this one.
No, this was Warren.
Warren wrote this one. Yeah, and it's the way Warren writes. Everything's just so densely compact that it's just a headache to read.
He says, I know Cates is off it which is fine because Absolute Carnage kind of blah, and also he blocked me on Twitter for no reason. I've posted stuff on Twitter like I did today. Like I was like, somebody has said, "What's Spider-Man's most complex personal issue he deals with?" And I tweeted out, "Always running out of web fluid." And I was like, "Nah, I'll pull that back. I'm not going to put that out there." So
that would have been
funny. That's where my mind went all of a sudden to something dirty. Dirty bird. Okay.
All right, so we did that. Let's talk about a DC book. Not that there's ever a lot of them out there anymore, so it's a rarity. Let's talk about Legion of Superheroes #3. This was going to start off with a great thing. I was going to get excited, right? So in the last issue, Superboy goes back to get Robin, right? Because there's a mystery afoot, right? So who is he going to get? He's going to get his buddy and give him a reason to come to the 31st century. So Robin shows up, and then we find out all of a sudden, well, he's not really allowed to be there. Why? Comes the question. Well, you should watch the orientation video that they kept harping on in the first issue. And I'm like, this is stupid. And then there's a whole planet of Gotham. Not really, but it's a man-made planet. It's like super clean, super nice, blah, blah, blah. We start reading this, and we start realizing that the Legion of Superheroes, since they're a bunch of kids, they kind of don't know what they're doing. Like they started like an intergalactic crisis, not once, but twice already. And a possible third one we'll find out in the next issue. Superboy can't have his best friend Robin there. They got to take him back. We still don't quite understand why. We'll find out later in the future. I do like comic books that have a lot of characters in it. Like it reminds me of G.I. Joe and Transformers, where you just had all these various different personalities of superheroes everywhere. And that's one of the reasons why I read this, to see the different characters in it. This is okay at that point, but I thought it would have been better if they kept Robin, because that would have gave enough. None of the characters seemed to be snarky enough. And I think Robin could have added that and really kind of make this a holistic kind of team. Instead, he's got to go back because, I don't know, we'll find out later. And Superboy's kind of crushed because he can't have his best friend there, but for some reason he's allowed to be there. So what makes him so special? We'll find out soon enough. Either way, we know that the Legion of Superheroes have broken a rule, and they're constantly breaking rules. And like I said, they're just screwed up. And I think I'm liking it for that, so I'll stash it for that.
Now that's Damian Wayne Robin still, right?
Yeah.
So essentially now, because of what Bendis did with Superboy, he sent him off with his grandfather, came back, he's actually older than Damian now, and that's the Superboy from that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, you brought up a book that I didn't read. I'll talk about a book that I read that you didn't, and I blasted the first issue. You know, that's what I hate about previews. Like if I order it 2 months in advance, like, is that book going to be good? Do I want to order issue 2? Yeah, I think I want to order issue 2, and I order issue 2, and I'm like, shit, I shouldn't have ordered issue 2. That's Lola Woods #2. This is part of that Joe Hillhouse comics. In this story here, the two main characters, Elle and Octavia, we get a little backstory on them and how they met. They were just out in the woods. Elle is playing with a pocket knife, a little penknife her dad had given her. Octavia's picking blueberries. I don't know what the hell she's doing. And she gets attacked by this skinned man. I don't know what the hell he is. Elle jumps on his back, stabs him with a knife. The guy falls down this crevice. That's it. That's all they talk about. They leave the woods. That skinned man is never brought back up at all. Then it goes back to whether now they're teenagers. We find out they're actually both lesbians. I don't know. So I guess they both have to be. And they're still trying to figure out what happened in the first issue, because in that first issue, they fell asleep or they were drugged in the theater, but they left the theater. There was some evidence of that, but they couldn't quite figure it out. So they blamed it on the guy that cleaned the theater. They went back to him, blamed him, and he doesn't know anything about it. And the whole thing talking about how small the town is and how people can't leave. Elle wants to go to college, but she's afraid that she won't have enough money to do it. So there's a couple things that are really, I think, really wrong with this book here, or not really wrong, but a couple things going on. One, the creatures and the monsters in the woods are never mentioned outside of Elle and Octavia. Like, wouldn't the whole town be talking about this a little bit more? Wouldn't they be spreading it out, saying, hey, there's monsters in the wood? That really didn't get brought up at all. Two, and they're still trying to figure it out who Bill Cosby'd them in the movie theater. Because when Elle goes back home, she realizes her underwear are inside out. They got put back on wrong. So she's thinking somebody had done something to her. And Octavia thinks she's just lying because she wants to make an excuse not to leave the town. Something like that. Big party at a place called Heaven on Earth. Not the same Heaven on Earth I know. There's a little restaurant up the freeway about 60 miles that sells the best cinnamon rolls. Not that place. It's the old rundown hotel. But really, dude, it's a blast. It's not. This is
really after that description. Why isn't it getting an Eisner?
Oh, I know. That's because of the diversity alone. In there, I mean, there's a skin dude right there. I mean, but that's only really using 2 panels, and that's it. He never discussed it all anymore at all. So it's a turn. As soon as I saw this on the counter with my books, I'm like, oh shit! Did I actually order issue 2? And yes,
yeah, you need to be like, hey guy, I didn't want that anymore. You can put that back.
Well, like I said, I always feel obligated. If I ordered it, I pay for it. Regardless if I know it's going to be a shit book or not. I'm not going to have the
comic putting out your pull list and take it with you.
No, I mean, I'm sure I ordered it, and I don't think he put something there that I didn't order. But it's just one of those things. I go, oh, okay, I did order issue 2 because I thought it was going to be something good.
Well, congratulations on getting $1 on that book.
Yeah. So that's a blast for me. Cafe Comic Books said, "Stupid Bendis absolutely ruined Jonathan Kent." You replied with, yes, he did. Yeah, he would make fun of my comment here. Super controversial there, Huey. Yeah, well, Okay, let's talk about another book that both you and I read, and it's a continuation of. I thought these were all just one shots. I didn't know that they were going to be a continuing story with, a sub character. I'm really actually digging these. I think these are really damn good. That's Ruins of Ravencroft Sabretooth. I like the first one. I was kind of complaining about it because I'm like, is it information you have to know going forward? No. But I didn't know they were all interconnected like this either. Yeah. And so now we have Dracula versus Captain America or whatever, or Ravencroft Dracula. It comes out next week or the week after. I'm like, oh shit, I better get that now. This is actually pretty good because what I like about these is it throws all the Marvel characters kind of in here. We have Sabretooth as a orderly torturing freaking Wolverine, or wants to, but the doctor ends up cutting his arm off, and Sabretooth's like, whatever you do, Doc, that's going to be far worse than I was going to do to him, and
the doctor, somebody too.
Yeah, the doc. I'm trying to remember who the doctor was. We get a little more investigation into that underground facility. So we have, Mr. Fantastic, Misty Knight, Jameson's son, and Fisk. So, and they end up cracking open this sealed door, and it's a whole bunch of zombies and monsters and stuff like that. But it keeps flashing back to essentially the grounds of Ravencroft and how it has this history. So I think that is a really cool aspect to this, and I'm really looking forward to moving forward to this. We also have Sir Percy of Scandia. You know, the Black Knight's in there too. They think he's absolutely crazy, but he's trying to explain to him who he is. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Give you your medication, just put you away. So a whole bunch of cool tie-in, I think, to some Marvel characters and some great history to them, and how their connection is to Ravencroft. I think it's great, and I'm gonna continue to pick up, even though they weren't on my pull list. I'm gonna go ahead and pick them up anyhow now. So yeah, definitely looks it's cool, and I gotta trade my copy because mine got ripped. It was ripped when I bought it, so stash for me for sure. What about you, Joe, for Ravencroft?
Yeah, this is a hard stash for me. This is good stuff. It has anything that a comic book reader would want. You got monsters, you got superheroes, you got super villains, you get a little bit of history, and you get flash forwards to what things are like now and how things have changed and being rebuilt. It's a great story. It's not convoluted. It doesn't have to over explain itself. The dialogue in it, I get it. It makes sense. I like this. This is smart writing. Is it in continuity? I'm going to go ahead and say no for that case. But as a one-off shot or a series off to the side, it's beautifully written. And the art in it, I love the art in it too. I like this kind of whole mad scientist thing that's going on in the basement. The doctor that turns a blind eye to it. The Romania lady turning into a werewolf. Now that kind of makes sense because now werewolves are part of Ravenclaw, and how she was going to go back to Romania because we found out she's from Romania all of a sudden. You know, I really like the way they play off of this common tropes, but they kind of gave they don't tell you that, you know, they don't present the trope as a trope. They just present the trope as a, haha, see what we did there? It's kind of, you know, I really enjoyed that. I thought that was fun. I think it's smart writing. But yeah, I like this. This is fun. We don't change the characters in any way. We're just sticking them in a different environment, and I really enjoy that. And it's, like I said, it's just smart writing. Good job. Good story. I'm going to be picking all these up. You know, we're going to get the bad issue because every arc has a bad issue. I think it's going to be the vampire one that's coming up next because it's kind of really hard to do something cool and unique with a vampire, right? It's a vampire, right? But I don't know. I could be wrong. All of them could be home runs. I don't know, but it's good either way. I would definitely catch up on these while you can and get them. So yeah, stash for me.
Now, what was the doctor you said was named? Not the female doctor. Was the other one?
Doctor?
Yeah, the male doctor. What was his name?
Dr. Sinister.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Mr. Sinister. Yeah.
Yeah. Only his real name before he got turned into Dr. Sinister was Dr. Essex.
Yep. Double S said, I was surprised to read Ruins of Ravencroft. It was a good read for me. Yep, I think it's overall pretty good. So, okay. I brought Ravencroft up.
Oh, I'm going to talk about things.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Did you read Ghost Rider?
I did read Ghost Rider, yes.
Talk about Ghost Rider. All right. So first off, I had to go with this cover because it's just satirically funny as all get out. Basically, it does the little thing where it's pointing at certain things and describing what they are on them. And it says things like Cosmic Head. This part is completely revenge. Cosmic Spike, filled with cosmic. You know, it's just constant funny. I enjoy this. This is to be a stupid arc and just funniness. Poking a little fun at itself, and it's a fun read. We get the savagery of the Ghost Rider in it. We get the girl who's innocent but wants to deny her own reality and wants to be considered bad. Why? I don't know. I don't care. But that often is the case when you tell somebody they're good people when they're trying to be bad. And we kind of get somebody trying to, instead of a redemption story, we're trying to avoid redemption in this by maintaining somebody's innocence and keeping them out of trouble for something that could ultimately damn them for the future. Much like any other parent giving advice to a child. You know, it's just like, don't stick a finger in the socket. You know, they do. It's like, well, kind of the concept here. Only we're dealing with somebody's immortal soul. So, but I really liked it. I thought it was fun. But she turns around and does something bad anyway. What is going to be the repercussions of that? I'm actually genuinely interested in that. And I think they're going to take a sad turn on this because this is a funny story. And, Ghost Rider stories ultimately always have a sad ending to them. So I'm kind of curious to see where this goes, if they kind of keep with that tone. But yeah, this is just a great story about trying to save somebody, and they're just too stupid to realize that they're young and stupid. So I enjoy it.
Now, this main villain in here, trying to find his name. Is this the first time he's been in any comic book?
I tried. I was going to look it up, and I didn't. It's the last issue would have been their first appearance. So yeah, I've never seen the character before, so I'm assuming it's a first appearance. But I didn't want to say that until I've thoroughly looked it up to see if they've been in anything else. Because the story reads like we should know who this person is.
Yeah. That's why I was kind of confused by it, because I don't think I've ever seen Cosmic King. That's his name. I'll have to look it up maybe when we're going over the next one. I do like the part where, there's multiple times that she was trying to kill somebody to protect him or protect herself, and Ghost Rider keeps stopping her, chaining her to the sidecar essentially, and she finds out how to get away from that. And there's some parts that he says, "I'm here to save your innocence." Like, she a virgin? Well, what are you doing? Trying to make sure that she remains a virgin until she says her vows, or what? So I thought that was kind of funny. I do like his Cosmic King. He's this massive character, and he's saying nothing funnier than a monster trying to hide his fangs. And Cosmic Girl's like, "Who's hiding, Cosmic King? Fangs are all right here." That was pretty badass. I love that panel when he just goes into the fight, regardless of size. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, Cammy does get thrown through this portal, and I don't know what's the heck's going on. They're turning into sausage or something like that when she's going through that portal.
I think they're trying to show space-time bending.
No, is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's like her guts are coming out.
Gardens of the Galaxy, the Ego Planet one where they were kind of space jumping a lot and they were bending.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, I think this is still a good book. Not as good as the first run of Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Oh, yeah.
But still pretty good in general. And I'll still continue to pick it up. It's only, I said, 5 or 6 issues. So, we do get some other character. And we still show how badass Cosmic Ghost Rider is. He's kicking back in the diner, eating his food, and all of a sudden that diner essentially gets blown up. So it's still good stuff. And I'll stash it. So, yep, Cosmic Ghost Rider is a stash for me. Double S said, I think you might be right, Joey, that I think the vampire one might suck, talking about Ravencroft, just like Jared Leto might suck as Morbius in an upcoming film, just like he sucked as Joker in Suicide Squad. I'm on the fence about Morbius.
Let's take a break and discuss.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm on a fence with it. He doesn't look over the top like he did play the Joker. I don't know a whole lot about the Morbius character. I just know he's a doctor trying to cure some blood disease, and he ends up essentially using, I guess, bat blood or vampire blood or whatever it is. Because the vampire, he kills the bad people, doesn't kill the innocent to put off his thirst for blood. He's kind of an anti-hero. That's about all I know really of the character. But it looks decent. It doesn't look horrible, but I don't have my my bar set very high on it. So I guess that may be good going into it too.
Yeah, I have always liked Morbius when he was in Amazing Spider-Man. I always liked Morbius when he teamed up with Ghost Rider. I always liked Morbius with somebody, right? Because, and if we look at Morbius and the way he is as a character, he's basically a crack addict, right? He's trying to fight the urge, the addiction, if you will, and by himself that can just get annoying because it's just somebody being needy, and nothing's more annoying than the constant person that's needy. So I don't know how this is going to work. It's going to be another, I'm constantly thirsty. I constantly have to do the internal struggle to fight from sucking people's blood, and I think we're going to get very little of him actually being a superhero, because that would be congruent, even in his current run in the comic book right now, right? Like, how many times I've been reading it, and it's like, it starts off, there's some good stuff going on, and then it's just constantly, I need blood, blah, 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 blah. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God. I was like, we get it, you're a vampire. Like, we know. We don't need to be reminded every other page. So if they go that route, I don't know. I'm hoping, fingers crossed on this one, that they're using, it's going to be one of those little sneaky tie-ins that, like they did 10 years ago with all the Marvel movies, where they kind of snuck everything together and how it was together.
Yeah. Well, they already had the Vulture at the end of that, so hopefully it might tie in with something with that.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. That would be great. So yeah, I'm for some reason I have lost, the chat is not moving on me. So you're gonna have to keep us up to date on the chat. What does everybody else think about Morbius?
That's the last comment I see is Double S talking about how it's going to suck.
Pun intended.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see anybody else. Yeah, so if you're watching in the rewind, tell us what you thought of, or what you thought of the Morbius trailer. If you think it's going to be good or bad, indifferent.
Can he stand on his own should be the question. Can Morbius, as a cart or as a movie, can he stand on his own merit? That should be the question.
Yeah, because there are a lot of characters that are side characters that I don't think could hold their own movie. Sam Wilson is Falcon. I think maybe that's why they're doing the TV show that Falcon and Winter Soldier, or Captain. Or I think it's Falcon and Winter Soldier. Because those two characters are side characters; they're not the main character. So who knows? You brought Cosmic Ghost Rider up. Let's talk about Hellboy. This is the winter special for 2019. So it just came out just after Christmas. And if you've read these winter specials before, it's just a few stories of horror related items. It kind of reminds me a lot of the Goon. Just some of the stuff the Goon deals with, same stuff that Hellboy deals with to some degree. The first story is probably my favorite story. Hellboy and this old guy and the young guy are at the bar drinking. Young guys get totally drunk, talking about seeing this old man trying to struggle up this hill with his bag. So the young guy helps him into his house, and the old man gives him a coin out of the bag. And the guy's like, no, I don't want it. And the old guy just freaks out and turns all red, says, take it. So the young guy takes a coin, and we find out it's actually this ghost of this town. So every time this guy wants to get rid of this coin because it seems like it's bad luck to him, he throws it in the river. The coin comes back to him. He tries to throw it in the trash. It comes back to his pocket every single time. So Hellboy decides to go with this kid and go up to this house, and they go in there, and there's a bag of coins sitting in there, and this big old flame thing comes up out of the fireplace, says thieves. And so he thinks that they're trying to steal his gold. And then the kid explains to him, and Hellboy explains to him, we just want to give your gold piece back. We don't want to take anymore. And the guy just basically goes, what's he say? It says, give back, favor, nice. So this ghost is not, or even when he was in real life, now used to people being nice to him. So he realized this little niceness, and he ended up taking a gold piece back, and that's kind of the end of the story. A couple of those stories here talks about a brother who kills his brother for the millions of dollars the company has by a strange creature in the snow. And the last one talks about the Crusades and killing monsters and going to kill this baby that's a werewolf, but they can't do it. It's a typical 3-story kind of horror, Christmas related winter stuff. It's cool. I mean, I don't read Hellboy a whole lot. I do like the concept behind Hellboy. Magnolia's doesn't do the art anymore, but I don't like Magnolia's art at all. Unfortunately, I think he makes the characters too. They don't have wide enough shoulders. They're pretty slanted. So I never really got into Hellboy a whole lot. I mean, I love the Hellboy movies. Well, let's put it this way: the old Hellboy movies, not the new one. The new one sucked balls. I hated it so much. Yeah, it's a stash. It's kind of a cool read. I don't know if I'd go back and read it again, but it's definitely I think, cool kind of read. So,
There we go. The chat's caught up with us now. We got it's not updating for me either, but I think it's catching up for everybody now. The Morbius movie might be an introduction to the new Blade movie in the MCU. And I'm like, yes, that would work. Like that would make sense. I think I might find this coin down by the river, like Chris Farley. Oh yeah, I'm down in a van down by the river.
Yep. Old SNL skit with Chris Farley. So yeah, that was Hellboy.
Okay, I'll talk about Iron Man 2020. Did you get this?
I did not. I passed on it because Iron Man had just got re-released, less than a year ago?
Well,
and
every
so
other year.
I decided, nope, I'm not going to pick it up.
So it's not Iron Man as we know him. It's this Arno Stark. Okay. Arno, he's like the son of Tony Stark or brother. I think he's the brother. He's one of them. This is a confusing mess. All right, so now we're dealing with the machines have uprisen, right? The old robots want to be considered citizens or be respected or whatever the case may be. They're robots, they're machines. No. So in this, we get like anybody that's ever been a cyborg or anything, they're part of this rebellion. The funny thing about this is, and I don't know if I have it over here. Yes, I do. I had to look up a lot of these characters because they're so minuscule. I had to look into the little free manual guide to find out who they were.
Oh,
like,
really?
Quasimodo robot running around it. I'm like, that what? I had to look it up in here. It's bad when you read a comic book and you need a character manual because your characters are so minuscule in them that nobody knows who they are. We got hints that this was going to kind of be the storyline back in the last Fantastic Four, where Herbie wanted to be liberated. He's in here too. Apparently, he's got a foul mouth now because that's a thing. The story's bad. All right, come to find out, Tony Stark is the robot that's running all this. Arno Stark is trying to squash all this. Stark this, Stark that. Android parents this, Android parents that. It's stupid. It's so stupid. It's so convoluted and stupid that it's just annoying. It's annoying to the point that when you're reading it, it's like you can't tell who's the good guy and who's the bad guy because everybody sounds bland and across the line. Right? The couple of action scenes that are in it, they're okay. And don't get me wrong, it's kind of cool to see some of these characters in a different light, in part of a secret rebellion. The artwork in this is very clean. I love the artwork. Great lines, great shadowing, great detail. The dialogue is meh at best. But our Tony Stark now has long hair, and he's just a hippie now that's trying to help the machines rise above themselves. Yeah, you heard that right, boys and girls, right here. Machine Man's in it. Remember Machine Man? That's right. What he does, because nobody really read that comic book. So there's that. It's dumb. So it's a blast. I just brought it up because it was standing on the stack right here, and I was like, oh, I'll talk about that for a second. I'm regretting that now.
So, yeah, I didn't like the character design they have for him. With the gears,
yeah, they tried to do the old gears, from the old 2020 realm where everything was geared.
Okay.
Trying to do that.
That's something I'm not aware of then.
Yeah, it's stupid. Still stupid. Stupid.
So my next book I'm talking about. So Marvel and DC usually jumped up $1 more for number ones. And most of the indies have been staying right at, okay, it's $3.99 cover price. Okay, we'll stay $3.99 even with number one. But now some of the independents are realizing that people are paying that extra dollar for number one. Okay, we might as well jack our price up an extra dollar too. Yep, same with the other one here for IDW, as I have two number ones for IDW this week, $4.99 cover price on it. That sucks balls, especially for, and IDW's, it's not Image big, but still, I mean, it's one of the bigger independent books that are out there. So this is Rising Sun by who's Mars and Rodriguez. So the book opens, I mean, it's a great panel to open with. You see this guy just beat to shit. He has holes in his shoulder and stuff like that. And he says, yield beast, I have no wish to harm you, but I will if. And then turn the page. They're fighting a big dragon. And we find out it's a team dynamics, and they're all trying to fight this dragon, trying to destroy it. And that little monk at the beginning of the book, he ends up getting his asses handed to him. He's been poisoned by the dragon, but they end up defeating the dragon by shooting it through the eye with some kind of rifle. Then we find out a little more of the backstory of this team. So there are actually 6 clans that are brought together. This is 12th century Japan. 6 clans brought together, and they explain what's going on. And these clans don't like each other either. They're all kind of, like, you're an asshole, I don't like you. You're too arrogant, I don't like you, blah, blah, blah. But we find out here on this page here, it says that the Kami, which I had to do research on this, like Joe always says, comic books make you smarter. So I'm like, I want to know more about that. So I researched it. The Kami is a sacred power or force, one that the Shinto deities, including mythological being and spirits of distinguished men and forces of nature. So these are all like Asians. Huh?
So it's Asian based?
Yeah, it's in Japan.
Okay.
So it basically all their ancestors or anything they can't explain is part of this Kami. Kemi or Kami. I forgot how to pronounce it. I wrote it down, tried to get to make sure I was pronouncing it correctly. They talk about that Kami fell silent. Creatures that were once hidden in the shadows in fear of our clans are now run rampant. So each one of these persons from their clan have been chosen to form a team to go after these evil spirits and everything else that's going out. So it's kind of a Suicide Squad of 12th century Japan a little bit, I think.
I like it.
So the art in here is pretty clean, pretty crisp. I was actually surprised by the dialogue, and it's pretty good. I mean, definitely, like I said, you have the dynamics of team members not liking each other, but have to work together in order to achieve this common goal, which I think that's kind of cool. They do find out there's actually something bigger. They go to one destroyed town, and here, this first thing I thought of is, was this World War II? Did the big bomb drop on one of those islands? But no, it's 12th century Japan. So they were attacked by these monsters, and all of a sudden, at the final panel, you see all these monsters coming out and surrounding them in this town. So this is actually pretty good for. I usually don't like Japanese or Asian inspired stories, but this one actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. I would probably pick up issue 2. I think it actually is only a mini series. So Rising Sun is actually a stash for me. It made me learn. It made me smarter. And now when somebody asks me, or I hear the word Kami, I know what they're talking about.
There you go. Ooh, I did not read that. As a matter of fact, independents were a little low for me this week, but I did pick this up, and that's I can't talk right now. Undiscovered Country. This is issue 3. Man, I'm liking where this is going. This is getting like super weird. I like it. All right, so we open up with our resident expert and how the Americas were in nowadays times before this Great Wall went up with the defenses and everything. And he has this theory that time works differently now because of the wall, and it's shifted in a space-time continuum thing because something's going on there, right? So there's some science behind it. It's a MacGuffin. We'll just say it's the MacGuffin device is making it happen, whatever. So it's completely changed the United States. Everything's morphed here from the people to the animals and everything, and it didn't make any sense, but now it kind of does. So he has this theory, and because he has these theories and he's been saying them out loud, he got locked up in a nut ward. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He's crazy. All right, cool. But they went ahead and selected him for this mission anyway because apparently he's like one of the few people that kind of understand how America was before it sealed itself off from everybody else. Well, all right, great concept. We find out that two of the people on the team were actually from the U.S. and were shipped out of the U.S. when they were young kids, right after the wall was built and all that. And the older brother has been there quite a few times, to the point to where we end in a double cross at the end of this issue. That was really cool. What was really interesting about this is when he sat there and his theory at the beginning of the story about how time's working different there, and he really wanted to see it by putting some diluted acid on a coin to see if it would age. If you know anything about jewelry, if you want to check the age of jewelry or how much gold it is, anybody will tell you it's a little drop of acid on the back, and you wait till the colors change. They did that with the coin in here, and I thought that was really smart for the writer to do it, because if you actually caught it, it makes sense that way to judge time. And what happens is we find out that no, it wasn't just 50 or even 100 years, that it's evolved so fast in time that it doesn't even register. So they're dealing in a space of time that kind of makes sense in the environment now instead of just being ridiculous. So I was like, because I was about to drop this book, so I was like, it's getting stupid. And I was like, okay, all right, you explained that. We got it. We got a double cross at the end. Okay, what I want to know more now. So now I got hooked onto this. So I'm on board. Issue 4. I always say you can tell if you're going to keep reading a book after its third issue. So yeah, I'll probably be finishing this to the end of its arc now. I'm really enjoying this. Definitely get yourself some of this. It reads something silly, and it's one of those books. I'll go ahead and say this. I wasn't going to, but I'll go ahead and say it. It's one of those books where if you politically lean in either direction, I don't care, right? If you're against walls, or you're for walls, whatever, because it uses the terminology of wall a lot in it. And I know that's something that's a hot spot right now. But regardless of which way you go, you're going to like this story, because you could be like, you could point at it and say, oh, that's why you don't need a wall. Or you can point at it and say, well, this is what happens if the wall happens, or what the rest of the world would look like, which are nothing more than just a bunch of greedy tradists at this point, right? It's just ridiculous. I love the extreme of this book in either direction it can go in. Either party can sit there and say, oh, that book's talking about us and how bad you are. So it doesn't matter which way you go, you still lose, because it's actually just poking fun at both sides. And I can appreciate that. It's really good. I like it for that.
Yeah, I thought they did talk about the wall and why it was put up. I just remember the main story with the coin and the time, how time works differently.
Yeah.
So then my question, if so, he originally thought it was 30 years, but we find out it's a lot more than that.
It's a lot more than 100 years. Yeah.
So my question is, how come they don't age more? Does time move faster there? Or are they going into the future?
You got to think about the coin, right? The coin is the delineation of time.
Yeah.
The coin was manufactured at a certain point, right? So we got to test corrosion. Yeah. That's why test corrosion is to start corrosion, and then it's got to catch up to its current time frame. So it doesn't matter what's going on around the coin. The coin is just catching up to where it should be.
Okay. So then that does explain it. I was like, dude, if he puts it in a bird, the bird's not going to, live 10 years, because that was the original test, was going to put it in a bird, and the bird's going to fly over the wall and come back and be able to test it again and figure out how much time had moved forward in there. And I was like, how is that going to work with the bird and a living creature coming back and forth?
Time's not speeding up for everything there. Time just took a jump.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Now I get it. Now I understand. Yeah, so it's not like it's constantly moving forward either.
It's kind of like the Hulk in Endgame. That's time travel.
Yeah. Time travel. So yeah, I've been kind of on the fence with this book. I want to trust Snyder. Snyder tends to do really well, I think, of these stories. And I did like the concept of trying to figure out time by using corrosion or using aging, essentially, of that coin. I thought that was really cool. So I'll probably pick up issue 4 on this. But I'm still kind of like, somewhat teetering because I got so many books I pick up. This is like on the edge of getting pushed off
I can see
to
that.
make room for something else. So who knows? But it's not too bad. Double S. So the wall was ordered to be built by Donald Trump, Joey?
The book doesn't say, and I don't want to get into it. But actually, if you read the first issue, the wall looked more like the G.I. Joe base from the 80s with the like it was all over the place. The U.S. said, we don't want to deal with anybody.
Okay, it's almost 8 o'clock. We'll do one more. I think we read all the books that we read the same this week. Okay. I'll go with this one. I'll go with this is Dire Wraiths #1. Again, $4.99 IDW book. That's tied in with ROM Space Knight. Wasn't ROM Space Knight a Marvel creation?
Yeah, it was Marvel. IDW did some stuff with it. It's one of those properties that gets licensed out a lot.
Okay, because I know it's essentially the first Marvel run was created to sell the toys, the ROM
Right.
Space Knight toys. I know that. But I was like, well, why is ROM in IDW now? I didn't know that. I didn't know maybe they had sold the rights to it, or maybe it's always been kind of in flux on kind of going back and forth. So what this actually takes place during July 1969, going to the moon. So it's talking about the space landing. They never named the 3 astronauts in the main shuttle, but we all know it's Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. I looked that up too because I didn't know all my history on that.
I was going to ask if you looked that up.
I did. So, and they're talking about their mission. They're talking to their commanders on base, back and forth. But they actually have a secret mission going on as well. They're going to send another team up that's kind of like off the books. You know, the Neil Armstrong group, they're for everybody else to see and get that information out. But there's a team going on off the books, and there's one Russian scientist lady that knows something's not totally on the up and up, but she wants to bring all these weapons, and the other guy's saying, no, you can't bring weapons. No weapons. We discussed this. No weapons. But she knows that there's something devious going on the moon, and we find out there's these wraiths here that are main villains to, I guess, ROM Space Knight, and they're stuck there on the moon too, and they're trying to get off the moon. So the main 3 real guys, Buzz and Neil and stuff, are doing their normal stuff, and they're talking about, hey, look at this. Let me take a video of you jumping on the moon. That video that we all know from history, right? Another character they had that brought into real life, and I looked her up as well, and that's Joan Morgan. It says her name right here. Right here. And it says the first female engineer at Kennedy. So I looked her up. Of course, that's what it is. She was the very first female engineer at Kennedy. So that was kind of cool, having the historic aspects. Again, making me go look something else up to make sure everything's on the up and up here. I mean, they could have thrown anything in there. At first, when I read that, I go, really? Okay, here's a little like, okay, let's just make it feminist thing here. First woman, blah, blah, blah. But it's actually a real thing, too. So the comic... Octaku. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce that. He says, "What's up?" So the other ship lands. The Dire Wraiths end up attacking it and essentially taking over. You know, like Venom style, and taking over one of the crew members from the second ship that goes up. And there's him. They're going to go take over the Earth. That part reminded me of Venom a lot because the way he's taking it over, he's able to learn all his memories, everything he's capable of doing. He doesn't need to take it direction anymore because they're all in the guy's memory. He takes over the body over. But he doesn't take it over to the host. He ends up sucking the life force out of him and essentially becoming that person. So are they going to have more historical accurate kind of settings around this moving forward? I don't know. This is ROM Dire Wraiths #1.
And it is Otaku. Cool.
Okay, you did say it. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually Japanese for a young person who is obsessed with computers or a particular aspect of popular culture and determining of their social skills. So kudos on the name.
I think he does some comic book videos, and they are, I want to say Cantonese, but I don't know 100%. Let me know in the chat if I got that
I'm
right.
going to say it's not Cantonese if it's a Cantonese word.
Okay, whatever. I'm retarded. What can I say? Let's see here. I'm on his. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
And it's actually otaku. That's the
Otaku.
correct pronunciation. Otaku. I just see.
Okay, maybe it's a different guy I'm thinking of. My bad. I'm an idiot. What can I say? We just lost a sub.
We do enjoy love having you here, and he does comic book reviews. Thank you for coming by. We're not making fun of you. We're just making fun of each other, and you just happen to be part of it. I'm sorry.
I'm your horrible host, Huey. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the unsub. We definitely appreciate that. But Dire Wraiths, Rom, they do have a tie-in with Rom toward the end of the book as well. But I don't know. I never was a fan of Rom. I never read the Rom comic books. And I wasn't even going to pick this up when I saw Rom in the title. I'm like, oh, God, okay. The only saving grace for me with this book is it has the actual historical tie-ins. I'm a big sucker for those. I love having, we talked about it numerous times. You like those books too, where it has an alternate version of what had really happened, or we think what happened. So that's the only cool aspect of this. Would I pick up issue 2? Maybe. It's a soft stash for me.
Okay, so let's go back to Undiscovered Country. You said the same thing about that, and then there's this book. You got one more comic book to pick up that's in your budget. Which one is it going to be?
Oh, between those two?
Yeah.
I'd probably pick up Undiscovered Country.
Yeah.
It's because I know Snyder. I know his writing a little better than this other guy, so I kind of know what to expect. So, yeah, do you want to go over one last book before we jump in the lightning round, or do you want to talk about your last book and then you do your lightning round?
Let's just do a lightning round because we got a lot of other stuff to talk about. We got all kinds of things going on.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Have at it.
All right, so I'm going to run down the last of my books real quick. I got Avengers 29. This one, Who's the Starman? The Starman. Now, I remember the Starman from back in the day. The Starman was a no-name comic book that a lot of people didn't read. And this one, we're trying to make it a big deal, way big deal. Guess what it is? It's a pregnant woman on a prison cell. That's it. That was the big lead up. The last 4 issues. Yeah, we tried to do that too. Try to give, or at least a story arc, 3 issues. So yeah, definitely. Starman's another. It's the exact same thing as Captain Marvel. Shoot Starman's, only this one's way stronger. So that was a blast. Marvel Tales of Ravenclaw. I didn't read the synopsis on this before I picked it up, and I'm regretting that because I have all 3 issues that are reprinted in this. This is just 3 reprints dealing with Red Goblin and Carnage. Black Widow Prelude. It's kind of like a grilled cheese sandwich. The recipe's in the title. It's the prelude to the movie of Black Widow, and it has a bunch of nonsensical details in it that don't freaking matter. Moving on to, boy, we're kicking it tonight. DC, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. This is, DC's version of the Spider-Verse, only using, of course, He-Man. This took an interesting turn with the powers of Grayskull in it, but still not enough. So why pick it up? Because I'm a sucker for He-Man, and I feel guilty if I don't. It's nostalgia's an old man's worst enemy. Let's see here. Blood Realm. This book is by Alterna. Sorry.
You talk about me messing up name. Altoona?
Sorry. That was fun, but okay.
That was what?
This book stunk.
Oh, okay.
I get the format that they use here. They used a very old school newspaper type paper here from back in the 80s, and they use a very generic cover. But the art in this, whoever's choosing what books they're going forward with, kind of really needs to start thinking about what a comic book is versus a dissertation of narration. Because this entire book's nothing more than a narration of somebody's internal demons. That's it. I wish I had more. Gutter Magic. Man, I love Gutter Magic. I'm surprised this is not getting more popularity out there. This is a great, fun story. We kind of close out the arc on this one. And for an arc, issue 4 is kind of soon, but they really jam packed a lot of stuff throughout the issues in this. We find out that the term Gutter Magic, our hero, our rogue scallion, is not the one that's been using gutter magic. Come to find out, everybody else is, and he unlocked true magic, understanding how magic really works in a prison cell. That was a real interesting take on this and kind of a little twist at the end. I really liked that. I hope they do some more of this. I'll pick more of that up. G.I. Joe. If you like G.I. Joe from the 80s, like the old cartoon and movies, you're going to love this Snake Hunt run. This arc is fun. This is the montage episode. Everybody's gearing up for war. We got, Xantar and his group of hillbillies and English hillbillies. They're gearing up for war. We got G.I. Joes. They're legitimately rolling through what kind of ammo they're putting in their magazines. Like this guy's like, I like to have a tracer, and then I like to put a ball, and then I like to put an AP round. And then the guy's like, I just randomly put them in and let the surprise happen. Then we got some random ninja group that Storm Shadow's leading now, and they're being all noble and Asian. I don't know. And then we got Cobra knows he's about to get attacked because they have the fake Snake Eyes trapped downstairs, and they're blockading everything up. So, I mean, you throw some cheesy rock and roll music from the 80s in the background. This is a montage. It was awesome. Get yourself a montage. Second Coming. This issue started getting weird. I've been on board with this so far. It's kind of being a satirical look at religion and everything. But this particular issue, I'm not going to say took it too far because I don't think you should ever restrict any writer. But bad writing's bad writing. And this was just outright bad writing. Their take on Judas in here was stupid. And it didn't make any sense. And how it actually led to the death of Christ in it. Like I said, I've been on board up this. This is issue 6, and this is the only issue I've really complained about. So there's your in-between issue for me. Let's see here. And Dying is easy. If you like mystery books, this is definitely it. The whole thing's chock full of sarcasm. And somebody was like, you were talking before about how you don't need but so much sarcasm in it. I don't need so much Mean Girl sarcasm in a story. This is just being a jerk sarcasm, and I'm okay with being a jerk sarcasm. That's my favorite kind of sarcasm. I practice it on a regular basis, and this book definitely delivers with that. I've been enjoying this. However, be warned, this is not really a comic book. It's in comic book format, but it's a screenplay. It's a pitch idea. I've said it before, but it's still good. Double S says, I remember Sergeant Slaughter in the old 90s G.I. Joe toy commercial. Oh, yeah, I used to sing that song when he's rolling around in the tank. G.I. Joe, Joe Tough. Yeah, I used to sing that on my BMX bike. So that's all my books. What'd you get?
Did you say on that Second Coming, the eunuch? Is that what you said? What did you say? Oh, on that book, Second Coming, you said something about the story of the eunuchs. Judas. Oh, I heard eunuch. Sorry. I don't know what I'm thinking there. Okay. Let's talk about a couple books I did read. Voidwalker by Altoona Comics.
Altoona.
I'm going to call it Altoona every single time now. Yeah. Altoona. So this is, I read the first issue, and it's only like $1.50. You're not losing a whole lot of money, which is nice. If it is a shit issue, you're not out $5.
Mine was $5. That 80-page issue, that was $5.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't buy. I think that might be all the combined issues because they had smaller issues of Blood Realm. Yeah. So I don't know. If you like Venom, if you like Spawn, if you like John Wick,
I like John.
There you go. That's pretty much what this is. It's a revenge story with the mob, with some hellspawn and symbiote suit. So it's okay. Like I said, for $1.50, I know it's a 4-issue run. I'm spending $6 on all 4 issues. Not hurting my pocket at all.
What do
Definitely
you
worth it.
think about the quality of the comic book? Because I know they go a cheaper route with it. What do you
Yeah,
think of the quality?
it's okay. I mean, it's the newspaper print. That's how probably why they keep their prices down so low. I mean, the ink's probably gonna fade a lot quicker than what it is on newer stuff. But I mean, for $1.50 though, I'm not expecting a cardstock cover either. You know, and so I think that's what's nice about alternatives. They try to keep their prices low. I mean, that's the thing. You always learn economics too. Either you can sell a bagel for $6 and sell 5 of them, or you can sell them for $4 and sell 25 of them. You know, basic economics on there. Red Mother #2. It's okay. We're getting more of the eyes giving the woman problems. She's seeing the monster. She's having these visions. It still feels like issue 1. It still feels like it's building that story. I don't feel like it's moving at a pace that I want to go. I'll probably pick up issue 3 just to check it out. But after that, if it doesn't move the pace up a little faster, I'm probably going to go ahead and drop it. But it's not been too bad. Once I didn't read Avengers 29, I got that. I was going to try to read that one today. Teen Titans 38. According to CLZ, 40, maybe the last issue. I don't know. Again, to use the CLG is quite a few ahead, but it ends at 40. So I don't know if that means it's ending at 40 or not. I did pick up the Detective Comics 359, the facsimile. I pick up these anytime I can because I doubt if I'll be able to actually own that copy unless I get into a comic lot like Ray Jr. And if we watched his videos, 38 freaking short box for $600, man. True Believers, I pick up those too, just because they're $1. And good old stories. If you don't have them, you can pick them up. But those are my books for this week here. Caffeinate Comics. I never really got into G.I. Joe kid, but I can appreciate it. I never read the comics as a kid. Loved G.I. Joe the movie. Loved Tunnel Rat. Tunnel Rat was one of my favorites. Flint was one of my favorites. Beachhead, Barbecue. I think those were probably my 4 favorite G.I. Joe characters we had as kids.
I used to use the little identifier cards on the back of the action figures and stuff and the trading cards. I used to use those like flashcards to see how many of them I could memorize and their special skills, full names, where they were from, what training they had, especially the ones that went to Army Ranger School.
And we wonder why you got into the military.
Right.
Yeah, G.I. Joe the movie, that came out in what? 85? 86? Or was it 90s? Was it 90s? I was in high school in the 90s. I don't think
late 80s, early 90s.
Maybe late 80s. Yeah, I mean that's just a badass movie. Anything last minute things you want to talk about before we bounce out of here tonight, Joe?
So tomorrow I'm going to be putting up another video. I went to an antique store and I picked up a stack of comic books this big, and it's all G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Minor Keys. We'll talk about those Minor Keys and roll them down, why they're important. Also, we're going. I'm writing a comic book right now. You should know that. So I'm writing a comic book. Me and I have a great artist on board. We're still at the very beginning phases where we're still putting the artwork together, and we're getting the scenery done. And we're taking live shots of actual places to do the scenery. We're going out tomorrow to take care of the photography work for that, so we can kind of give a more realistic feel to the comic book. It will be an issue 0 and then a 5-part maxi, and we're going to put it out there for you. See if anybody likes what we wrote, so that way you can blast it or stash it, you the person, instead of us just always beating up on you. Yep. Or these other people, I should say, not you personally. Also, I have an auction going on through People's Auction House. I have Pops, comic books, and another gentleman's got a bunch of furniture and stuff in there. But don't pay attention to that stuff. Pay attention to the comic books. Take particular attention because we have some variants in there that are 1 in 25, 1 in 10s. So if there's a run and you wanted that particular variant. You could probably pick it up for $1 or $2. Legitimately, this is just all overstock stuff that I have. You're more than welcome to it. What am I going to do with the money? I'm going to take it to Emerald City Comic Con, and I'm going to buy fans of Blaster Stash It beer with that money, because that's what I do. I drink beer and I say things. I don't know things. I just say things. Other than that, yeah, we got some other things going on. Tell them about all the great stuff we're doing. Oh, I'm sorry. Here, buddy. Where is this at? It's there.
What are you talking about?
I'm trying to point at you. It's not
Oh,
working.
point at me? All the stuff I got going on?
Yeah, what do we got going on here at Blaster Stash It?
Of course, we have the trip to Emerald City Comic Con coming up in March 12th through the 15th. I know I'm going to try to be there the 12th through the 14th, fly out on the 15th. Joe, you're planning on doing the same thing. We're looking, trying to get an Airbnb. Anybody is going to be in the Washington area, get a hold of us and let us know. Maybe we'll work something out. But that's definitely going to be a fun trip, I think, altogether. I was going to drive up because it's only like 8 hours, but I think I might fly. $97 for a ticket. I might just fly up for the day or for the weekend. Save myself a lot of hassle trying to get back and on Sunday driving all day long. Right here on this channel, I go live on, it's going to be Saturdays now, Saturday mornings, usually about 10 or 11. I look at the comic books that are coming out the following week, which ones are going to be put in my pull list, and then try to kind of do the budget down through League of Comic Geeks. It's a great website. You can go check that out and let you add in, like if you get a discount or you have tax, let you know what you're going to be spending each week on your comics. And you can even print, put those in your pull list, print those out, bring those to your LCS. So that's what I do. I go in there and I print them out, bring those to the LCS, saying, hey, I want these books. It's pretty accurate. There's sometimes it could be maybe it's a independent book that's not going to be, it's in January's book, but it's not going to be out until June. So definitely go check out League of Comic Geeks. Other stuff we got going on, of course, if you want to go over to our Patreon, you can do that, and you can enter the contest and win stuff like this. Marauders #3. It's not the 1 in 25. It's a Virgin variant from, I want to say it was Comic Mint. Stephen Ronda actually won that this month. Got to give it to them. So definitely go over to our Patreon. $1 gets you 1 entry, 2 for 2, 3 for 3. Or if you want to rock the, go to a con and rock one of the Blasted or Stash It t-shirts. Show your love to us here on Blasted or Stash It. And definitely appreciate that. And of course, follow us on all the social medias. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We are on Facebook. Go check us out there. You can find us Blaster Stash. You should be able to find us right there. And
also,
those are
going to be in the Seattle area on March the 11th through that weekend. Let us know. We'd love to do a meetup. We can all meet up someplace. We can talk trash about comic books, maybe get into a little bit of an argument. Then we can cry a little bit over some drinks and become best friends, because that's how friendship works in the comic book community.
Yeah, that's how it works. Definitely keep your eye on Joe. Where are you going to announce your comic book stuff besides here? What else do you got?
I forgot about my villains contest. So right now on my channel, I have my villains contest. You definitely want to check that video out. It's the second time I've done this. I've only gotten 1 entry so far, but everybody waits till the last minute. You definitely want to jump on board with that anywhere in the United States. Great set of comic books. All you got to do is tell me how you relate to a villain, but you can't make it a villain doing anything good. It has to be a villain doing something villainous and how you relate to them. There's examples on there. Definitely check that video out. You're going to want to do that.
Okay, and we're going to go ahead and bounce out of here. Caffeinated Comics said, I wish I was still in the area. I would be able to catch up with you guys. And unfortunately, you just moved to Texas, so we'll be able to catch up with him. Ray Jr. is going to be there. I talked to him briefly off one of his channels, said, hey, we're supposed to be there that weekend. Maybe we might meet up with him. Maybe find some more information about his 38 short box he just bought. I don't know. We'll see. We'll catch you later, guys. Whether you blast it, whether you stash it, happy reading, and we'll catch you next time. Later.
We love